Hello, my name is Sundeep Rathod and I'm a partner and head of the Immigration Department at Edwin Co. Today I will be speaking about the Global Business Mobility Visa routes which came into force in April 2022. The Global Business Mobility route is a sponsored route, which means the UK company must first have in place a sponsor license and must have added the relevant visa category to its license before sponsoring foreign workers. There are ultimately five global business mobility routes which pretty much reformed existing visa categories, namely the intra-company transfer route, the sole representative of an overseas business, and the contractual service provider element of the international agreement route. The Global Business Mobility Senior Specialist Worker route replaced the previous intra-company transfer category, which was also known as the ICT route. This visa route is designed for use by senior managers and specialist employees of the overseas connected entity who will be transferring to the UK entity to fulfill a specific role. Many of the elements of the previous ICT route still remain within the senior specialist worker category. To name a few, the minimum skill level for the role being performed is still at RQF level 6, which is the equivalent to a graduate level role. The individual also does not need to meet the English language requirement as part of the visa application. Furthermore, the overseas employee must have been working for the overseas entity for at least 12 months unless they meet the criteria of a high earner. There is a minimum salary requirement for this visa category, that is either 42,400 or the minimum rate for their occupational code, whichever is the highest. And finally, like its predecessor route, the senior specialist worker category does not lead to settlement, also known as indefinite leave to remain. The maximum period an individual may remain in the UK under this visa category is up to 5 years in any 6-year period. And if the individual meets the criteria for high earner, they may remain in the UK up to 9 years in any 10-year period. The Global Business Mobility Expansion Worker route replaced the previous sole representative of an overseas business route and introduced some specific new features. It is worth noting that the sole representative visa route does still remain, but only to those already on the visa category and that will either be extending their visa or applying for settlement. The expansion worker route is ideal for those overseas businesses which have no trading presence in the UK but would like to set up a branch or a wholly owned subsidiary. This route allows for an individual or a team of senior management or specialist employees of the overseas business to come to the UK and launch with their expansion plans. In contrast to the sole representative visa, the expansion worker route requires a sponsor license to be in place first, and it's also worth noting that this category does not lead to settlement. Secondly, there is no prohibition on the individual coming to the UK in having a controlling interest in the overseas business, which is a fundamental change to the previous sole representative of an overseas business. Just like the senior specialist worker route, the expansion worker route also has a skill level and a minimum salary requirement to meet, and it's exactly the same. The role the individual must be performing should be at RQF level 6 or above, and again, the same minimum salary requirement applies as per the senior specialist worker route. It's worth noting that this is a two-stage application process. Once the expansion worker license is granted, the individual would then need to apply for their expansion worker visa. Usually immigration permission is granted for up to 1 year initially, and the individual may extend up to a maximum of 2 years. It's worth noting that this is a temporary route, and therefore it is expected that the individual would have set up the branch or subsidiary within the first 2 years of coming to the UK. There is also a mandatory requirement to convert the expansion worker license to a skilled worker license within that 2-year period. Once this has taken place, the expansion worker may switch to a skilled worker visa, which would then put them on a path to settlement. And just to confirm, for individuals on a skilled worker visa, they would be eligible to apply for settlement once they have completed a continuous period of 5 years in the UK. Here at Edwin Co, we have a specialist immigration department covering pretty much all applications under the UK's immigration framework. If you need assistance with your immigration matter, please do not hesitate to contact our department and we'd be delighted to assist you.